I think the way in which that I treat investors, when I started my this company, Build Better, we had an idea. We had talked to some customers. I called up one of my investors. I actually texted him from my last company. And my last company, my investors did not make their money back. I mean, this was not a great exit for them. And so I was worried. I was worried, are they going to give me money again? Have I made a mistake? And we had an acquisition offer on the table, and I ended up turning it down because it wasn't going to be super fruitful. And so I was like, yeah, like I don't know. Like, are they going to judge me for my decisions that I made? And he calls me a week later after I texted him. I thought he was basically ghosting me. And he's like, "What are you working on?" And I told him what I was working on. And then he said, "Well, how much do you need?" I'm like, "Well, we're just raising $120,000. We just want to build a proof of concept." He's like, "Okay, send me the wire information." I'm like, "Well, how much are you investing?" He's like, "Well, you just need $120,000. I'll send you the $120,000." And I mean, it was that easy. I mean, these investors, when they respect your decisions and they respect the process and you treat them with respect, I think there's a tremendous amount of gratitude that they pay you back. Almost all of our investors from my last company invested in me again. And I think that's because of the relationship I built with them and because of I take this seriously. This is not my money. This is their money they're giving me because they want an outsized return. It's not They didn't give it to me because they want a 2x. They didn't give it to me because they want a 5x. They gave or angel investors, they want a 1,000x. They want a 100x. I mean, they want a massive return. And it's my responsibility to do everything in my power to give them their money back and then a lot more. And I think a lot of people don't honor that respect is they have endowed with you a ton of trust, and you need to treat that with respect. And so when I meet a lot of founders who are doing silly things with their money, or they're growing too fast, or they're scaling too fast, or they're doing things like charging investors an opportunity to talk to them. That is the telltale sign for me that like things are not working well between that relationship. People really need to look at investors as, you are giving me an opportunity. You are feeding me. You are putting food in my mouth, just like my customers are. And the relationship I have with investors and the relationship I have with customers are very similar, which is I respect your time, I respect your money, and I hope I can do everything I can to make it worth your time, money, and energy. And, when it comes to the investors that we pick, we want our investors and our customers to be very aligned about, we are focused on solving a real problem, and we're focusing on solving that problem well, of course, at a profit. But, when we work with our customers, we're very clear about what our pricing is. We're very clear about, how much we value them. And I think when we talk about a weekly investor update, I care a lot about my investor updates. I used to write, last year I would do monthly investor updates, and my monthly investor updates were quite long. I shared a lot of detail. I was always very honest. I think if you start seeing investor updates with only good news, your founder is lying to you. So, I was always very honest with like, this is what's not working at our business right now. And here's what I'm afraid of. Even when things were going very well, when we were signing up hundreds and thousands of customers, we have 14,000 teams using our product today. We're the number one product research tool in the market. And even throughout that success, I would go to our investors and I'd say, our retention isn't what I'd like it to be. Our conversion isn't what it should be. We are growing really. I don't know who these customers are. They're not our ideal fit customers. So I would go to our investors and I'd be very clear with them. Here's what's not good with our metrics. Here's what's not working. And here's what we're trying to here's what we're doing to figure that out. Here's what we're going to do to solve this problem. And we worked with our investors on I have a very close relationship with our investors where I'll call them up, I'll text them, and I'll be like, what should I do? I don't know what to do here. And when you build a relationship of lies where there's only good news, they get surprised when there's something bad that happens. When you build a relationship with honest and real news, they don't get surprised anymore. And what I realized was my investor updates, my monthly long ones, they were taking a lot of time for me to write because I was sending them to both existing investors and potential new investors. And so there's 120 people on our investor list, and that was way too many people. It was way too many cooks in the kitchen where I was trying to like cater to too many people. So I shut that off. I was like, I'm not going to do monthly investor updates anymore. And I moved to weekly investor updates. And it only goes out to people who have given us money. And those updates are very raw. They're very honest. They have our metrics and analytics from the last week. You have to take it with a grain of salt because, we are not a weekly focused business. We're more of a monthly or quarterly focused business as far as our metrics. So I try and educate both our team members and our investors about what that looks like. We have some weeks where we grow 30%. We have some weeks where we grow 5%. But either way, we're always communicating what changed, communicating what's affected our business, and communicating what we're going to be doing. I don't know. I love our investors and I love the people I get to work with every day. And I think founders who do not respect that relationship and do not look up to their investors and do not find investors who they feel like they can learn something from, I think it's just sad. I think it really is because investors, they made their money somehow. And the quicker you can realize that they made their money because they made smart decisions in their life, by and large, there are some people who are just lucky, and they can help you think and help you make decisions better.